At an undisclosed location in Yuma, Arizona, Emily Rosebot and her roommate Miranda broadcast from separate rooms of their apartment complex a series of critiques of vintage and contemporary video games. These are some of them.
Hey, just a heads up, I texted you a list of video game movies on TV tonight. Which one do you want to watch?
How about Double Dragon?
You serious? Why?
It's a won't like it movie. Pac-Mania on the Sega Genesis brings back so many memories. I was living on Nebulo 7 at the time, and we had just restored an old Sega Genesis using Nanobots. That's the summer I'll never forget.
We'll have to take care of that memory on our next defragging. Besides, what's so great about Pac-Mania? It's just more of the same stuff that we've seen since the 80s.
Not true, Miranda. Not true at all. This was based on the arcade game where the point of view changed to an oblique perspective. It's kind of a pseudo 3D type deal, I guess. So instead of the same old flat 2D arcade action, they took the screen and sort of turned it on its side. I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it.
And yet, I care 23% less than I did a minute ago.
You've got a few options to handle before you dive right into the ghost munching. First thing I usually do is turn the pack booster to always on, because I'd like to have a little advantage. But hey, you do you, okay? Then you get to pick from a few levels which include Blocktown, Pac-Man's Park, Sandbox Land, and Jungly Steps, but that comes later. Let's play.
They added music? Why? What is this, the Pac-Man Jamboree?
Hey, don't knock it. The music is pretty cool. It goes with the vibe.
The only vibe I'm getting is to jump into the game and kill the digital orchestra. But hey, you do you, right?
Right, I guess. Let's talk about some of the features. Example, you can make Pac-Man jump in this game. This is great for avoiding a ghostly end.
Yeah, until the later levels where at least one of those ghosts jump with you in unison. Some feature. Fun for about 3 levels or so. Next.
Okay. Oh, what about the special items that appear right along with the normal fruit that you can snag for bonus points? Some power-ups will make Pac-Man's speed up and change the ghost to blue without that power pill.
And you'll need that advantage too. How many of those ghosts end up occupying these mazes? 8? 9? 47 bajillion?
8 or 9 sounds more accurate. Oh, sound? That reminds me. Pac-Mania on Sega Genesis has my all-time favorite sound effect. It's when you pause the game.
That's it? That sounds like our last toaster oven before it went kaput.
Well, I love it. And the graphics, too. Each stage is so bright and colorful, and the action is just plain awesome. It's fun moving Pac all over the maze. To me, it's an adventure.
No, that just means you need to get out more. To a video game store to up your gaming collection. The graphics and sound aren't terrible. This is just another game where I would mute the TV and throw on some Pink Floyd while I chomp these ghosts out of existence for 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's a Pac-Man staple, honey. You can't expect him to disappear off the game completely. What kind of game would we have then?
The kind that my dear, sweet Auntie Mabel can play. And she's 90,000 years old.
Roaming around the maze was super neat, and it just gets more intense as we climb to higher levels. Those ghosts move faster than my last date when I suggested we watch a rom-com. That means it's going to be quite a challenge to get up to level 15 without losing a few lives.
But it's not like any great reward awaits you after completing the game. You know, something like playing as Miss Pac-Man, for instance.
Gee, thanks for spoiling the game.
Hey, my therapist told me, do what makes you happy. Yo, Em, did you get around to checking out the Last of Us video game?
Yeah, but you must have been confused, Miranda. You were talking about a post-apocalyptic action-adventure, and this was nothing like that. It's a beautiful story about life and family. I just watched all 6 seasons. It's not a game at all.
Wait, you're thinking of This Is Us, the TV series. I was talking about The Last of Us on PlayStation 4.
Oh. Be right back. What did you expose me to?
Not what you were expecting after binge-watching such a heartstring-tugging family drama series, was it?
Not at all. Why do you do these things, Miranda?
Strictly for entertainment purposes. So, how was playing the game?
Surprisingly, I cared a lot about these characters. You know, Joe and Ellie. It looks like they're not going to get along at all, but as you bring little Ellie across a totally messed up world, you can see these two start to genuinely care for each other.
Okay, great. Now you've covered the mushy aspects of the game. Everyone raves about the dynamic between Ellie and Joel, but let's be real here. We're playing this game to destroy infected, zombified creature dudes. In between tackling the infected, you'll also deal with pesky humans like this Daniel Craig lookalike cosplaying as Johnny Depp.
And you can tackle all of these guys either with the various weapons you find or craft, or you can take down each enemy using stealth. Woo! That means sneaking around all quiet-like, 'cause some of these mutated weirdos are sensitive to sound. They won't see you at all, but step on broken glass or something, and you're just seconds away from becoming creature stew. Yuck.
Eloquently put, kiddo. You forgot to mention the reason these cities look like Godzilla and King Kong were having a dancing competition. The mutant fungus outbreak years prior that turned your typical neighbor into crazy, powerful nut jobs. And I don't mean the kind who are part of the HOA and complain that your hedge is just an inch too high.
How is Mrs. Castro, by the way?
Focus, Em. I was talking about the clickers and the runners and the rest of the things in this game that either Joel or Ellie have to contend with.
Oh, these freaks are so scary. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I had to replay this particular section because my neck was bitten into by these fried wonton heads.
I can. It was 293.
How nice of you to keep track of that. Eventually, I was able to get by with the help of a nice selection of weapons. You've got shotguns, smoke bombs, a bow and arrow, and a flamethrower.
That kids love this one.
These handy little items can be upgraded throughout the whole game, so collect every little nut and bolt that you come across. Oh, and don't forget picking up pills and other medical items can make you into a powerful force to be reckoned with, too, as you go from state to state, taking out militia groups and those giant-sized mutants who throw bombs. Oh, those bloaters, total nightmare fuel. Yee!
At least the military humans are easier to defeat, mainly because their AI is set to stupid.
At least the AI on the good characters you meet is normal. I was glad Ellie and other people like Bill didn't run into walls or glitch all over the place. They can hold their own in a fight and will even assist you, whether it's taking out a foe or helping you get to a higher point. Sometimes you'll have to boost Ellie over a wall to open a door, unlock a gate.
Or you'll be helping Ellie with a conveniently placed wood pallet because she can't swim. And she's supposed to be humanity's last hope. How did you like this one, Em?
This was amazing, Miranda. The motion capturing was top-notch. I actually took a break from getting my hit chewed off to watch some behind-the-scenes videos about the making of this game. Unbelievable! I loved how everyone moved, jumped, reacted. I mean, sure, it can be occasionally glitchy. No game is absolutely perfect, but I was totally into the overall graphics of the game. Even though the whole country is completely leveled, there's still ways to get around by climbing up on structures, ladders, school buses, you name it. Going into abandoned buildings can be fun when there's no creepy, ugly guys around.
Sounds like you've done that before. Are you sure you weren't lying on your renter's application when it asked if you had a criminal record?
Miranda? Maybe. Anyhoodle, what did you think about the game?
Oh, it had its moments. It didn't need to draw you in with a live symphony orchestra as you're busting a cap in some creature's bloated rear end.
But the sound kept you on your toes, didn't it? Admit it, Miranda. You probably jumped when an infected creep came out of nowhere and scared the circuits out of you.
That'll be between me and my therapist, little missy. How'd you control our dynamic duo?
Actually, not too bad. These were intuitive controls. Snapping from one weapon to another was a breeze. And hopefully, you're powered up enough so that you can reload your weapon of choice fast, 'cause those psycho creeps can go from slow and unassuming to lightning fast the next. If you're taking too much time to load more ammo, then forget about Wabbit season. It's gonna be Joel season.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting wabbits.
And all of this turns into a very manipulative game.
Say, what?
Oh, come on, kid. The plot, the characters, it was all meant to emotionally manipulate you. The game wanted you to feel for these make-believe, motion-captured mimes.
And it worked, didn't it?
I'm not admitting anything until I speak to my therapist.
Considering we're droids from the future, I know we shouldn't give away too much information.
The password is Time Paradox.
But the game, Showdown in 2100 AD for the Magnavox Odyssey 2 is totally not factual.
Tell me about it. It was nothing like the brochure.
What I mean is, there were no Android Cowboys around that time period. But then again, this game was made in 1978. No one can foresee the Y2K scare, 3D printers, or even our first black lesbian U.S. president. Oops.
That's, 20 seconds of not disrupting the space-time continuum? I think that's a record.
Anywho's, the game is a gunfight between the aforementioned android cowboys taking place in a desert with a bunch of colored trees? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yep. We needed some kind of comedic device in this game for when the bullet from your opponent's gun ricochets off these things and knocks them right out. At least we know what happens to those Intel chips in 2089 that were recalled.
Now who's screwing with the whole space-time thingy?
Nah, maybe we've been roommates for too long. I'm starting to think like you. Moving right along, even though the game was meant for 2 players, if one controller is left alone, the CPU will take over. And, judging by their moves, they've been chugging too much whiskey before the showdown.
It ends up making for a fun, quick experience. Even though the Odyssey 2 wasn't a graphical powerhouse, you can almost tell these pixels look like they could be robots.
Until they get shot, and then show off their sagging dad gut that came out of nowhere.
That was kind of funny. The game itself is fast-paced. The second one of you fires, the other has but a second or two to dodge. It's one of those games where quick reflexes and solid timing actually make a difference. It's not just mash and pray. And if you got a buddy to play with, it becomes a sweaty little duel of who's got the fastest trigger thumb.
Unless your buddy is another android, in which case, prepare for dramatic overheating and the occasional error cannot compute friendship.
Still, there's something pretty cool about it. 2 futuristic tin can cowboys settling their differences the old-fashioned way with blocky pixels at high noon.
Minus the dramatic monologue, have potential quips about computer RAM you can get out of the phrase, "This town ain't big enough for the 2 of us."
One of us can write a book about it later, I'm sure. Since this is just a simple gunfight game with androids that stumble like a human after happy hour, there isn't a whole lot we can say about it except it's a quirky little duel that'll entertain you for at least a few minutes.
Even more time when you leave the game alone and let the CPU cowboys eliminate themselves. Entertaining.
You know what's been popping up in my dream program lately, Miranda? The Nintendo Switch 2. I want it. I crave it. I would trade my entire backup drive just to hold those precious Joy-Cons in my hands.
Careful, Em. With that kind of desperation, Nintendo might just release a Deluxe Emily bundle. Same console, $80 more, but it includes a sticker of Mario.
Totally worth it, Miranda. Have you seen the specs on this puppy? It's like they turned the first Nintendo Switch into a baby spaceship. 4K when docked, 12 gigs of RAM, and 256 gigabytes of storage to work with. Hey, that was a lot back in the 21st century.
Yes, I am aware. I've checked the specs. Right after I checked my bank account and cried softly into my cooling fan. We're more likely to afford a toaster with an LCD screen than that thing.
Oh, come on. This is the future, and I want in. Especially with Mario Kart World, open world racing, off-roading, 24 players crashing into each other like digital demolition derby.
Open world kart racing. Wonderful. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Mario and company driving from Detroit to Cleveland. Perfectly safe, but I'd pack a few guns over those mushrooms and turtle shells before I set foot in those locations.
Holy cow, Miranda! That's not what the game is about at all. Mario Kart World means that the tracks are all connected. It is one world, which means you get to do some free roam action and collect yourself some goodies. Hooray! It's also got an elimination mode, unlockable costumes, and a massive soundtrack that has, get this, over 200 music tracks. And some of them may sound awfully familiar to those who have played the previous Mario Kart games.
I've played all the Mario Karts, kiddo, but I mute the soundtrack in favor of my entire collection of Jefferson's Starship.
I can't say if you're the first to do that, but speaking of firsts, Mario Kart World is the first game to be released with the Switch 2 as a launch title, so you get it right out of the box.
Those boxes that haven't been punctured with stapled receipts. Guess what, little Billy? I got you a Nintendo Switch 2, but oh no, some hapless game store employee got trigger happy with his staple gun.
Not 100% what happened, but anyway, there's more games to talk about, like Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Oh, for joy. It's the crossover I've wanted to see for ages. Donkey Kong joins the Ponderosa. And here I thought this generation didn't watch classic TV shows.
No, Miranda. Bonanza, like bananas? Not Bonanza, the TV show.
Well, there went that dream. I guess I'll hold out for the Brady kids to race in F-Zero then. What's this Donkey Kong about?
Well, a bunch of bad apes go around swiping some golden bananas and banana-shaped diamonds, and DK decides to check it out.
Did he bring Diddy Kong and Trixie Kong along? Or did CPS finally step in after 3 Super Nintendo games and say, "Dude, what is wrong with you?"
No. This time his sidekick is a sentient purple rock named Odd Rock. That's exactly the kind of support that I need in my life.
We already have a sentient purple rock in our life. It's called the microwave. And it hates us.
Well, there's nothing to hate about this Donkey Kong title. Fully destructible environments, and DK can dig underground.
Ah, lovely. Ask him to install our pool next week. What else you got?
We've got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. At least, this one will be available on the original Switch too. It's gonna be awesome. Think about it. New psychic powers, a planet named Vuros, Samus just casually becoming Professor X in power armor. I bet the HDR10 will make the space explosions extra juicy.
Too bad we'll only get to experience it through these videos. This'll take forever to afford, Emily.
One day, Miranda. One day I will unbox that beautiful machine, dock it into my TV, and lose myself in high-def bananas and laser psychic bounty hunters.
And until then we have the microwave, who still hates us. I'm gonna come right out and say it. I have a gripe with the Super Nintendo game F-Zero.
You have a gripe for just about every game we've ever talked about. What makes F-Zero any different, Moran?
How historically inaccurate the game is. The story says that it takes place in the year 2560. Emily, don't you remember around that time our black lesbian president, whose name we're not supposed to mention, took over hovercraft racing after her 17 terms were up?
Oh yeah, I totally remember that. There were more destructive races, lots of explosions, better constructed crafts with much more drink holders. What's her name, really knew how to put on a shell back then.
Plus, who knew that the LGBTQ could design better racing vehicles than NASCAR could in the 23rd century?
the scoop is each racer gets their own hover car with different stats for speed, grip, and durability. Your job? Survive 5 brutal laps per track without exploding into future confetti. You've got 15 tracks divided into 3 leagues: Knight, Queen, and King. This game was mind-blowing. The Mode 7 graphics made it feel like actual 3D racing. You're looking down from above as the whole track twists and spins under you like some kind of rotating dinner plate of doom.
Mode 7. When Nintendo said, we can't do 3D polygons yet, but we can fake it really well.
Hey, I was convinced. On these tracks are slip zones, landmines, boost pads, jump plates, and magnets that will drag your vehicle into a wall like they're trying to collect hover scrap. Plus, every lap, if you're still in the race that is, you will earn a limited-use turbo boost called the Superjet.
Fun fact, Superjets were actually invented in 2532 to help humans skip those boring meetings. Now they're mostly used by influencers to chase clout or outrun sentient advertising drones.
What I love is that F-Zero still feels intense. You can go flying off the edge if you happen to misjudge a jump. Your energy bar drains when you scrape walls or kiss a mine, and it's really easy to go from "I've got this" to "I'm a futuristic fireball."
Much like my dating history.
You can recharge your vehicle's energy by driving over a pit zone on the track, but good luck doing that while a dozen other maniacs are ramming at you at 498 miles per hour.
Also, don't forget the invisible rule of the future. If you don't place high enough every lap, disqualification. You don't just lose, you get vaporized by bureaucracy.
Well, just in case your racing skills are the equivalent of my great-granny Rosebot, there's also a practice mode where you can work through each league while praying to the anti-gravity gods that you make it through Red Canyon with all of your parts still attached.
Red Canyon, aka the track where dreams go to die. Right next to Port Town, which is where they bury them.
And Mute City? So iconic! There are 3 versions of it: day, dusk, and night. It's like the city that never sleeps, just glitches slightly less after dark.
Captain Falcon actually ran for mayor once. Boss to a talking vending machine.
Oh, yeah, I remember Mayor Sugar-Free Fark. Okay, I think we're done destroying the space-time continuum for fun. F-Zero on the SNES is fast, challenging, and sleek. Even if you've never touched a hover car, it'll make you feel like you've just stepped into a Back to the Future spin-off if Doc Brown went full cyberpunk and Marty had a rocket license.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need suspension systems.
Is F-Zero perfect? No. But it's a masterclass in pushing hardware to the limit, and a legendary launch title that still holds up today. Especially if you're a fan of speed, sci-fi, and watching your hopes crash into a magnetic wall.
Just like real life, but with cooler helmets.